first corner, Schmozzle. We bring together sound and vision from Sebring International Raceway, wherever you are, either here at the track on 100.9 FM, listening on RS2 IMSA radio, or indeed following along with our World Feed TV on IMSA.tv. Good to have your company. Hello there, it's John Hindhaugh, Jeremy Shaw and Shay Adam as we're ready to go racing in the sunshine. Perfect weather with the temperatures, well, getting up a little bit, to be quite honest, to 70 Fahrenheit on track, 73 in the air. That is 21 on the track and 23 in the air. 17 corners, just over 3.5 miles. The names here tell you all you need to know about the history of this circuit. Action areas at turn 1 and turn 7, right the way through Collier. Up to Tower Turn, which is the turn 13. Also see some incidents down there. And then, of course, diving up the inside at turn 17 at sunset at the end of the Ullman Straight. It's a busy day today. It's a huge crowd. And we're on the first of 2 formation laps. And there's already a problem for one of the Audis out on the circuit. That is an absolute... Oh, it's started. It's got going again before it was passed by the safety vehicle. Well, that's good news. Let's take you through the field as Jeremy Shaw alongside me here in the global broadcast booth has the runners and riders for the Alan J Automotive Network 120.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, John. We've got 42 cars on the starting grid, 27 of them in GS, 15 in TCR. Starting at the back is car number 99, that's Victor Gonzalez in a Honda Civic. Alongside him on the back road grid, after problems in qualifying, Will Talley in car number 73, that's a Honda Civic. Road 20, Preston Brown in one of the 2 Rockwell Autos Development Audis, car number 10, alongside the defending series champion Taylor Hagler in car number 1. Row 19, that's Jacob Diley in a Hyundai, and Gavin Ernstone, winner at Daytona in number 61 Roadshagger Racing Audi. The 18th row is Nate Stacey making his return to the series in car number 74, the second of the Diley Motorsports Hyundais, alongside Nick Loymans for Rockwell Autosport Development in an Audi. The lone alpha in the field was starting in the 34th position, that's car number 5 for Roy Block, alongside Steve Ike in a Honda, car number 89. Row 16, Brian Ortiz, another returnee to the Michelin Pilot Challenge in car number 91. That's a Hyundai Elantra. 2 more Hyundai Elantras directly ahead of him on the grid, both from Brian Herder Autosport. Is car number 33, that's Harry Gottsacker, and Mason Philippi in car number 98. The front row effectively in TCR, car number 17, Chris Miller in the Unitronic JDC Miller Motorsports Audi. On the pole position, as Shay Adam has already said, the Honda Civic for LA Honda World Racing. Car number 37 is Matt Pombo. Moving on to GS, Sean McAllister will start last in car number 39. That's a Porsche. Row 13 on the grid, Frank Depew in the Rebel Rock Racing Chevrolet Camaro, car number 71, alongside Eric Zitzer, making his debut in professional racing in car number 85. That's a Crucial Motorsports McLaren. Paul Sparta in car number 92 will start 24th. That's a BMW, alongside a lone Toyota in the field, car number 14, Tiago Camilo. Row 11, Eric Filgueras in car number 28, a Porsche, alongside the BMW of Garrett Adams in car number 26 from Orlando, Florida. 2 more BMWs on row 10. John Capestro Dubets in car number 25. Robert McGuinness in car number 95. Row 9 is Adam Adelson, another Porsche in car number 47. Then Bryce Ward in a Mercedes car number 57. Row 8, Bob McCallion, a Ford Mustang GT4 in car number 59. Similar car alongside, that's car number 13, Jason Altzman. Row 7 is a McLaren Artura GT4 for car number 69. It's Alex Filsinger from Canada, alongside Ted Giovannis for Team TGM and Aston Martin, car number 64. Row 6, Vin Barletta, the Turner Motorsport BMW, car number 96, alongside the lone Bronze Cup category car, that's Gary Ferreira in car number 11. Row 5, Anton Diaz Pereira, Mercedes in car number 27, alongside the BMW Sean Quinlan in car number 43. Row 4, Austin McCusker, Austin McCusker in an Aston Martin. Alongside him in the similar car, car number 44 is Moise Uretsky. Yet another Aston Martin will start 6th. Car number 46 is Hugh Plum. Top 5, Jeff Mosing in a Mercedes, car number 56. Another Mercedes 4th on the grid, car number 23 is Anthony McIntosh, alongside Aurora Strauss for Crucial Motorsports in a McLaren. Had a great run at Daytona in car number 58. And on the front row of the grid for Murillo Racing in car number 72 is a Mercedes of Kenny Murillo. And then on the pole position for the first time in his career, car number 83, Tom Collingwood in the BGB Motorsports Porsche.
2 hours are on the clock. That is the 120 of the Alan J Automotive Network 120 IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. It's green at Sebring, and it is the green pole sitting BGB Motorsports Porsche who heads off into turn 1 with the preferred inside line, turning in from the middle of the track. Watch for the incidents coming behind. Everybody playing ball in the GS field, then the TCRs following through with a little bit of a gap between them. It wasn't a full split start here. Here they come. Full split start. It was a full split start, should I say. They were a little further back than I was anticipating. So Matt Pombo leads them down to the first left-hander, side by side on the back straight. Already the McLaren that was well up in the field. That was the Artura, Aurora Strauss, I think, just getting shuffled back a wee bit. Trying to stay out of trouble early on as the main field goes through turn 7 in front of the 7 Hotel. Really good wings in the bar there, by the way, just saying. Down towards turn 10 for the first time. Defensive move down the inside from the pole center, but round the outside. Kenny Murillo makes it stick in the bright orange AMG GT4 of Murillo Racing. That was brave and bold on Michelin tyres that may not be up to temperature and pressure yet. That was impressive. And what about third position? Anthony McIntosh, JTR Motorsports Engineering in the AMG GT4. Anthony now battling for second place as well. And then it's Jeff Mosing for the other Murillo Racing Mercedes. These 4 have pulled away from that Artura that was right up at the sharp end at the start. And then there's a wee bit gap further back down through the field. But that's a decent, very decent start indeed. Aurora Strauss having to defend, comes to the middle of the road, coming down to the end of the Ullman Straight. Got Hugh Plum for Team TGM right in behind her in the red, white and blue Aston. Hugh takes a very tight line on the inside, and there wasn't as much bumps there. I think he might have got the power down a little bit earlier. He'll be challenging Aurora as they go across the line to complete the first lap. Kenny Murillo from Tom Collingwood, from Anthony McIntosh, from Jeff Mosing. Aurora Strauss in 5th, but Hugh Plum trying to get around the outside, hasn't been able to make that. He's under pressure himself from Moise Uretsky for accelerating performance in another Aston Martin Vantage GT4. And then the third AM Vantage in the line there, 6th, 7th and 8th is the Van der Steur Racing, Austin McCusker making up the top 10, Sean Quinlan, and the Lone Star Racing Mercedes of Anton Diaz-Pereira. What a start, and what an overtake for the lead for Kenny Murillo.
Yeah, nice start for him, and a good first lap there for Tom Collingwood. He's not used to starting up front in these sort of races, so he made it was a good effort on that first lap by Tom. Just lost to 1 position, slotting in ahead of Anthony McIntosh, and Jeff Mosing there using all his experience in all sorts of different cars to move up in the top 5 as well.
Jeremy Shaw and me, John Hindhaugh, in the booth. Shea Adam in the pit lane. Shea, you managed to grab a word with some of the drivers beforehand. This battle behind Aurora Strauss is really interesting. We'll keep an eye on that. What can you tell us about the mindset of the drivers as they came into this Alan J Automotive Network 120?
Well, it was very interesting, John, because it was just a reset from where we finished at Daytona for GS. So Tom Collingwood, very much out of position from where he's used to qualifying, said he was just going to do everything he could on these opening laps to keep the Wolves at bay. But I want to follow up with Robin Liddell and Rebel Rock Racing, because Robin, last we left your car, it was not in a good state. It was a brake issue for Frank Depew in the qualifying session. Everything looks like this Camaro is ready to go win a race, though, isn't it?
Well, it's a lot of cars to overtake to get to the front, but I mean, obviously, as normal, we'll do our very best to get as far up the front as we can. You know, the team's worked incredibly hard over the last couple of weeks. We tested, we ran the VPC race last weekend. Frank did a hell of a job. He was 2 7th-place finishes and 3rd quickest in the first race. Excellent job by him, but he got caught out yesterday when we went green on that after the red flag in qualifying, and I think with some heat soak in the brakes, he just came out of the pit lane pretty quick and jumped on the brakes, and the pedal went super long on him. So unfortunately, yeah, he went off and hit the wall. You know, cosmetic damage for the most part, but the car should be running very well, and I expect, based on his performance from last weekend, that once he gets things settled down a bit, I think he'll actually get going quite well and pass some people. So we haven't written it off. We're still excited for the race.
The good thing is that you know how to pass a lot of people, so 40 minutes for Frank Depew, and then we're going to see the Robin Liddell show. Good luck today, Robin.
Thank you very much.
Quick and economical round here. Remember how he eked out the fuel? Back at the front of the field, Tom Collingwood and Anthony McIntosh are having a battle for second, whilst they're watching the Murillo Mercedes number 72 down at the hairpin, just getting smaller and smaller. The second Murillo Racing Mercedes, Jeff Mosing, is in 4th position. Then the little gap of about 5 seconds back to Aurora Strauss in that crucial motorsports McLaren Artura GT4. Hugh Plum, Team TGM, Aston, Accelerating Performance, Moise Reski, Austin McCluskey, Van der Scher Racing, and someone's dropped some bodywork at the exit of turn 1. Jeremy Shaw.
Yeah, that's. Is there a car in there as well?
There is a car in there. Oh, it's the number 70.
Cars.
It's the 70 Daly car that has gone off.
It's Jacob Daly.
That's a big impact. In fact, there's another car involved there.
One of the Rockwell cars.
Is that the Rockwell car that was struggling at the start of the race to get up to pace? That was one of the. It was certainly one of the Rockwell cars that didn't. That's going to be a full course yellow here. Yeah. That's a big impact on the exit of turn 1.
That's Nick Loymans in the number 15 car for Rockwell Autosport Development, and yeah, that's been a big off there for those two. That is going to bring out a full course caution. Good start though by Kenny Murillo. Good,
oh,
really
there's
good
3
run
cars,
by Thomas.
Jeremy. There's 3 cars involved in that.
Oh, is that the other Daly car?
I think that's the other Daly car. I think that both of the team cars out there. It's 15.
Well, Nate Stacey was farther ahead of the other two.
So 61 and 70 definitely, isn't it, that we've identified. I think the other one might be...
Did you say 61?
61's Roadshagger, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's 60. It's the 61. It's Gavin Earnshaw.
Okay. Well, yeah, those 3 were together as they crossed the line. Earnstone in 61 was ahead of 15 Loymans, and then Jacob Daly in car number 70. They were.
Jacob Daly's got furthest up the track in the orange and black car.
Most damaged too, by the looks of it.
Yeah, completely ripped off the side, left-hand side of that car. The Roadshagger car is the one that's planted. Simply Las Vegas. Yeah. That's the 61 car. That's planted fairly square onto the wall. And the good news is, and particularly if Kelly is listening, is that Gavin is out of the car. Oh, that car door didn't close very well there. They have got a brand new car.
Yeah.
This was meant to be the last race for this chassis.
No, well, the last race was supposed to be the last car for the old car, but they won that. And the new car, the brand new Audi. Oh, he's not very happy with the.
This is Jacob Daly just got out of his car. So 2 of the 3 drivers we've seen out. The 3rd car we thought was the number 15, did we not?
Yeah.
Which was Nick Loymans for Rockwell. Oh my goodness me. That is a very big incident.
So that Daytona then was supposed to be the last race for the number 61 older sequential gearboxed Audi, but they have a new car. They've done some testing with it, but it didn't have the ABS system which it's supposed to have. So, and that only arrived, I think, the day before yesterday. So even though they've done testing, not with the full ABS system on the car, so they didn't have time to fit it for here. They have a test already planned for VIR later next week, but it's come to an early halt here. That's, of course, the championship leaders, having won the opening round at Daytona last time.
Well, I wonder if we can try and unpick what was going on and how this all started. Right, well, it was Gavin Earnstone who got sideways with cold rear tyres coming through turn 1. and then was picked up by,
Yeah, the other guys had nowhere to
by
go,
the Daly car, and then it was the Rockwell car that came through behind them. No, make that the other way around. It's the Rockwell car that first gets into a sideways Gavin Ernstone, and then Jacob Daly, trying to avoid them, just went the wrong way, had a split second to make a decision. Jacob's fine. He's helping the marshals clear up. And we've seen Gavin as well. Who did we put in the Rockwell car, guys?
Nick Leumans.
It was Nick Leumans, yeah.
Yeah, really unfortunate. I mean,
he's still in the car, but he's moving around and talking.
There was Nick. He was just clipped inadvertently by Gavin Ernstone's car as he got sideways. He tried to correct it, but yeah, that was a big accident. Now, that's really unfortunate for all those three teams.
Nick Leumans is out of the car, I should say. He's out of the car. And in fact, the movement I could see in the car was one of the AMR safety crew trying to kick it out of gear so that it would be easier to move. The Road Shagger car looking fairly forlorn. Already, Track Services have got the Daly Hyundai on the back of the flatbed. So all three drivers...
Time, do they? It's incredible.
No, I mean, it's just superb. Just superb. And our AMR safety crew, and in fact, all of... This is an exceedingly long day. I know that sounds odd to say on a weekend where we've got potentially an 8-hour race and a 12-hour race. But today, it's more than 12 hours for everybody on post and everybody who has the safety of the drivers and foremost in their minds. So thank you very much to our marshals, corner workers, flaggers, medical, and hello particularly to Mike Roberts, who I know is back on the grounds. Mike goes back to the ALMS days, has just stepped away from his duties on the IMSA safety team. Great to know that Mike's going to be around this week. And to his erstwhile colleagues still working in those safety trucks, I know you're tuning to us. We always hope that you guys have the most boring of days. It's a very long day with very short breaks between them for refreshments, etc. So thank you very much indeed. I'm absolutely honoured to be an ambassador for the British Motor Racing Marshals Club and know how hard you work. I don't race very much, and I've probably in statistical terms for amount of races completed, given marshals a rather larger coefficient of work than I should have. I'm very much aware of how important those jobs are, and you donate to us the most precious gift you can, which is that of your time, as well as your enthusiasm and experience. So clean up going on.
Yeah.
And as far as what happened at the front of the field, Kenny Murillo's nicked the lead from Tom Collingwood with a superb round the outside pass at turn 10 through 11 and up to 12. Lovely, lovely bit of driving. Anthony McIntosh has moved forward. Jeff Mosing, Hugh Plum, Aurora Strauss, more than holding her own, sitting in 5th position. Not feeling the need to drive massively defensively, actually, in that McLaren Artura. She was driving her lines, and you know, nobody says you've got to pull over. That's a pass for position. Absolutely not. Doing exactly what she needed to do. Yep. Austin McCusker, Moise Ureski, Sean Quinlan for the top 9. Eric Figueres at the top 10.
Yes, and Eric Figueres, he's the biggest mover since the green flag. He took the green flag in 22nd position, as we've already talked about. The grid positions for today were set based upon finishing positions at Daytona, because yesterday's qualifying session was stopped early due to a couple of separate incidents, so nobody got a flying lap in, so therefore we had to go back to championship positions to set the order for the grid. But Eric Figueres charged in those first 2.5 laps before the full course caution came out, and he was able to move from 22nd to 10th. That's a great move by Eric Figueres.
Yeah, and now he gets to rest his Michelin tyres a little bit, and everything's closed back up again in front of him. So he gets another go at that when we finally get to the restart. Should just mention there's only one entry in the Bronze Cup this weekend.
Yeah, there's the Gary Ferreira and Chris Wilson in the Will Sport Mercedes. That's the only entrant this week. We had 3 or 4 at Daytona, but just the one this weekend. So that's a shame not to see a few more players there. But yeah, we had actually 4 contenders at Daytona, plus one that didn't start as well. So, but unfortunately, just Gareth Ferreira and Chris Wilson, who won this bronze championship last season, they don't have any other playmates here this weekend, so they'll get maximum points in the Bronze Cup.
So clean-up continuing.
Yeah, and that number 15 car on the flatbed coming back. That's that team has made a switch from Daytona for this season. Oddly, the older DSG gearbox Audis got a fairly major bump backward on the balance performance. The cars really weren't competitive. They were 2 or 3 seconds off the pace, or more than that, seconds off the pace at Daytona, and there haven't been any changes to it for here either. So that team was able to get its hands on one of the sequential gearbox cars. Actually, the car that was run last year, but under the number 17 trailer. And that is the number 15 car that unfortunately is out of this race early. The other number 10 car, the sister car, is still the old DSG gearbox entry.
Don't forget, we'll be awarding our Michelin moment of the race in the dying moments of the race, in what in our minds in the broadcast team has been the call or the moment that has swayed the race. Could be strategy, could be a great overtake. Running long on fuel. Michelin moment of the race coming a little bit later on. At the moment, it's Kenny Murillo passing for the lead. No doubt about that. Oh dear, the Daly car looks very, very second-hand. The whole of the rear axle has been ripped off. The Rockwell car already back in the paddock, so just the Road Shagger car to get down. Let's go down to the pit lane. Shea Adam has Michael de Quesada.
Yeah, and for Michael, watching the start of this race in Aurora Strauss, doing a lot of defending out there in the McLaren, but not a lot of drive time for either of you coming into this weekend. How much are you still learning the car?
Yeah, I mean, we're both basically getting used to the car and using the race as our practice. She's doing a fantastic job to be thrown up front with no drive time and handle yourself like she is. Nobody can ask any more of you. So, you know, I'm just hoping we can keep it clean, stay in the top 10, and bring it home.
Crucial Motorsports bringing a second car for the race this weekend. How much has that helped you guys with track time and setup?
Well, I mean, I would say it doesn't make a difference at this point because we haven't really had any time on track, any of us. So, you know, I'm sure in the future it'll definitely be a beneficial thing, but for now it's sort of tough.
Even more impressive for what you guys are doing then. Third in the championship coming into the race today. Good luck being a couple places higher by the end.
Yeah, thank you.
Shea Adam down in the pit lane.
And unlike many of the teams, quite a few of them were here for the test day a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, but that team wasn't, well, the team was here actually, but there were different drivers already committed to running in that car, so they didn't get a chance to run it. And the Zitzer father and son in the second car, they hadn't sat in this car before yesterday. So they're both struggling. Ron is dad, who's got a lot of experience, all sorts of different cars. He's done 15 Rolex 24s at Daytona over the years. The most recent, though, was in 2014. In fact, that was his most recent pro race as well. For his son, Eric, this is his first ever professional race. But he has a lot of experience in club racing and vintage racing in a variety of Porsches. The Zitzer family, they run a shop up in Orlando. They've got, well, scores of cars that they look after or prepare or run. But for Eric, this is a big moment, and for the father and son to be able to race together, it's a cool experience for both of those two two guys. Eric is the son, and Ron Zitzer the father. It'll be Ron who will finish the race in this number 85 car. So it's 58 and 85, the two Crucial Motorsports McLarens.
I think we're still a little... no, the Audi is on the back of a third flatbed. I mean, not only did they get there and start working quickly, but they needed 3 separate flatbed wrecker trucks. The Roadshagger car, oh dear, that's bad as well. Whole of the front end's gone on that car. Engine exposed, not just because the bonnet, the hood has popped up, but the whole front panel's been ripped up. Reminder that all 3 drivers got their way out of the car. Let's, whilst we have a moment before we go back to green, pick up some more news from down in the pit lane. Jared Thomas, JTR Racing, his car sitting in 3rd position with his teammate Anthony McIntosh at the moment.
Yeah, Jared, what a start from Anthony. What did you guys tell him before the race began to get him that fired up?
You know, I just told him to go to work, and the best defense is a good offense, especially on a start. So he definitely went on the offensive there and was able to get us a good position where they could kind of set sail.
You know how to win championships, having done it in the Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Cup. Looking pretty good points-wise coming into this race, and now up at the head of the field. So are you thinking long-term yet, or just about the W?
Just about the W. It's too early to think about points. I learned that last year. If you start stressing too early, it makes your job a lot harder.
Well, hey, stay chilled out then. Good luck in the race.
Thank you.
Shea Adam down there in the pit lane. Joe Bradley will be, in fact, has just joined her down there. Under full course caution at the moment. A 3 TCR collision. Big sideways slide by Gavin Ernstone. He'd got it back and got it pointing in roughly the right direction. Kept his foot in, which is exactly what you do. Unfortunately, the Rockwell car coming up alongside, I think, just got brushed and interlocked, and then the Daily Hyundai on the inside got sideswiped by the pair of them and pitched off into driver's left.
Yeah, really unfortunate, particularly for well, both of those two behind.
Yeah,
because there was absolutely nothing they could do. So Jacob Daly tightened the design up as much as he possibly could there, but even then he got sideswiped by Gavin Ernstone, who at that stage was completely out of control, just trying to hang on to it, and then Nick Lomans was caught up in it as well. So yeah, a lot of damage to all those 3 cars. Which is just a really unfortunate way to start this race.
Nick Lyman, Gavin Ernstone, Jacob Daly, all seen out of their cars. All 3 of the teams have given Shea Adam a thumbs up in terms of the condition of their drivers. Now, obviously, after an incident like that, they'll go to the medical centre on site here and get a full check over. Nothing left to chance when it comes to safety and health. The pit lane closed lights have gone off.
Yeah, the safety car is pulling in, the lights are out.
We have had then some 13 minutes of this race, 22 minutes, coming up to 23 minutes of the race. So that's over half now of minimum drive time. 40 minutes is the minimum drive time. We're under the control now of Kenny Murillo in the copper metallic coloured AMG. He gets his foot down, accelerates past the global broadcast booth, gets a great run away. McIntosh right on the BGB Porsche and pulls around the outside into turn 1. The BGB Porsche and Tom Collingwood went really defensive early, and then McIntosh using his skills there. That was brilliant stuff. He just left him there and let him tighten up the corner. Through into second then for McIntosh. BGB into third. Honda, one of the Elliott Honda World cars, into the pit lane. That was Will Talley in the number 73. Also looked like Jeff Mosing was looking racy as well on Tom Collingwood. Hugh Plum has gone past Aurora Strauss. Splash of fuel for Will Talley. That's interesting in the pit lane.
Okay, well that's a car that it's a fast car, and they had a good run to second place in the first race at Daytona. They had problems yesterday in qualifying with that car. It was a brake system issue, so they didn't get a flying lap. That's why they had to start at the back. By coming in now and getting a splash of fuel.
Oh, conflagration at turn 7. It's another one of the...
Is that the McLaren?
It is the Mia McLaren, the number 69 car, and the Mercedes AMG is the Skillisoft number 11 car of Gary Ferreira, the Will Sports car, and there's damage to both of them, but they are moving, and we've stayed green. Now, what happened there? Down into the usual kerfuffle, down at turn number 7, and it was the 57 that started all of that. That in the hands of Bryce Ward, Winward Racing. He was amongst that, at least. Look, Toyota was in there as well. So was it Bryce that started it? There was certainly 3 or 4 cars that were doing a little bit of rubbing, and the Winward 57 is stopped at the side of the track. I thought it had damage, so this might well bring out another visit. Pits have closed again, so we've gone full course yellow. Broken steering for Bryce Ward in the Winward 57. Damage to the right front steering arm, because obviously you have right rear steering arms as well. But you know what I mean? Of course you don't. And some cars have rear steer, of course. It was an option that I issued on my recent purchase. A year ago now, but actually coming up to my year's anniversary with the new car.
Dude,
so
this is a mess, isn't it?
It is a bit of a mess, Jeremy. It is a bit staccato. Yeah. It's good news for anybody who just wants to do their 40 minutes, because they're not losing time. Hugh Plum did make up a position on the restart, got the Aston ahead of the McLaren of Aurora Strauss. So that's good news. I like the Will Talley strategy. They've banged a hole and topped up the fuel.
Yeah.
And this is great for them, because this has closed the field up again. So they're on the back. You know, anybody who's on the back of the line here, you'd think once the pits are open that they might whiz around. Now, question is for me, and Shea Adam might know the answer to this, Shea.
Yes.
Do you think they'll open the pits here?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have to, because we're coming off the back of another yellow, which means that even though the first one was within the window, this one was within 5 minutes of the last pit caution. In effect, we didn't have the pits open, so that means that the pits will open for this next yellow sequence, and there are a lot of teams that are getting ready to service their cars. The most interesting one to me so far that I'm seeing, 56 Marilla Racing, Jeff Mosing, who's already done one race today. He's in this one right now, and he's got another one coming up later on. He's going to be making a trip down the pit lane, and it looks like they might just give him some sticker tires.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Race control telling us the incident between the two cars, number 69 and 11.
Yeah, I think it was 11 got into the back of the 69, and the 57 was sort of tucked in behind.
Yeah, that's bad luck for Bryce. He just couldn't get out of the way, and gets 2 hits actually.
Or was it?
Let's go down to Joe Bradley whilst we've got a bit of time, and he's with Daniel Morad.
These 2-hour races, I mean, quite obvious, not like a 4-hour race, but what I mean is it's quite frantic out there. You haven't got the time to wait. You've got to go for those gaps, and that's kind of what we're seeing here.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I haven't really participated in a Michelin Pilot Challenge race yet. Daytona was unfortunate. We had an issue with the braking system, and here it's just bad luck. I mean,
you're it then. You're there.
I think I might be the problem. I'm going to leave now. I'll go back to Canada. No, you know what? I'm going to go to Disney first. But yeah, it's just the way it is, right? Like you said, it's frantic, right? People are trying to make up positions. We qualified based on championship position, which was all skewed anyway because we only had one round of the series. And a lot of impatience. So, I mean, it's just unfortunate. A lot of wrecked cars out there.
Did you get any kind of communication from Bryce in the car? No expletives, of course.
Yeah, I mean, just the steering rack broke. I didn't quite see. Yeah, there was initial hit contact, and then the steering rack broke. So, yeah, just let go on him there.
And the other thing about the shorter race, you know, if it was a 4-hour race, it'd be worth getting the car back, banging another state or whatever, try and rectify it. But with 2 hours, it's kind of gone now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, even just to change a steering rack, it takes way too long. So sometimes luck falls in your hands and sometimes it doesn't. So, I mean, our heads are still high and we still have another program to go. The Windward guys are going to switch over, focus to the GT3 program, and I'll stick around to support the guys.
Your look is going to have to change, Daniel. It's just against all odds, really. It's going to change for next time out. Bad luck again.
Yeah, I mean, things have gone well and things, you know, sometimes go bad. But I'm going to keep my head up. I'm positive. We're doing something we love to do. And, I mean, sometimes you have a good day and sometimes you have a bad day.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Joe Bradley down at Windward. And that one of the cars that is not coming out. Pits are open. And we have got some takers. Shea Adam is down at the GS end of things.
I'm kind of surprised for him to come in for this GS pit stop window only. We've got the 46. That is the Plum Team TGM version. That is Hugh staying aboard. Both of the Turner Motorsport BMW M4 G82s are in. It's fuel only for the 95 and fuel and rear tires for the 96. Fuel only for the Vanderster Racing Aston Martin number 19 and the 85, which is the second of the crucial McLarens has come in. That tells me that they are getting their stop out of the way, so that when Aurora Strauss is ready to come in, it will be a clear stop.
Joe Bradley.
I'm completely disconnected from I'm trying to find my way over the pit apron. I'm the other side, John, so I'm sorry. I'm no good.
No worries. We'll get back to Joe in a moment. So I think more important than who stopped there for the moment is who didn't. Our leader, Kenny Murillo, didn't. Anthony McIntosh in second now, didn't. Jeff Mosing, didn't. 72-23-56, staying out. Tom Collingwood, the pole sitter in the bright green BGB Porsche, did not stop. Aurora Strauss did not stop, so she's back up to 5th position. Eric Figueres for RS1 has stayed out. Moise Oreski has stayed out. Sean Quinlan have stayed out. So that's the top 8. Hugh Plum came in from 5th position, by far the highest placed stopper there.
And 7th came in as well.
So that was fuel and tyres. And Austin McCusker came in from what, 7th-ish? Jeremy?
Yeah, and then from the next one was the 12th and 13th place cars both came in, 25 and 95. So the number 46 car came in. One would have thought that Team TGM would have liked to bring in both cars at the same time, the number 64 car with Ted Giovannis driving that car at the moment, but they only have one pit crew down there, so they don't want to double stack the cars, and so Ted has stayed out and he'll possibly be in next time around, but he'd already dropped to the back of the pack. He started up in 13th position, but already dropped to the back.
Still haven't had minimum drive time yet, Jeremy, so
Correct.
I don't think they'll...
So they'll wait. We're now an hour and 29 to go. What's an hour?
Shea Adam, an interesting difference in opinion of strategy there between fuel and tyres and just fuel from some of those stoppers.
Yes, and it was fuel and tyres from the number 46 Team TGM. They were the only car that I saw to do all that service. Vanderster Racing, in comparison, when Austin McCusker came in, they did fuel only for their Aston Martin, and then the rear tyres for the 96 Turner Motorsport BMW. That's the interesting one to keep an eye on. Or was it the 95? No, I think it was the 96. They did the rear tyres only, meaning that when they come in to do their driver change, they can change the fronts and get it refueled a little bit quicker and perhaps jump some people on that stop.
I hesitate to start guessing, but I can only presume that they're going to lengthen the stint for Hugh Plum. Hugh is a very, very competent driver indeed. So he's basically now going to run that car if nothing else changes, which in this race is highly unlikely, I accept that. But if nothing else changes, he'll run that car to the end of its fuel and it'll be one more stop to go. And it'll be a relatively short stint as well at the end for that car, Jeremy.
Probably, and they might well bring in number 64 car right as we go back to green. We still haven't completed the minimum drive time, which both drivers in the cars
so 40 minutes
have to do, which is 40 minutes. Yeah,
so he needs to come in before there's 40 minutes to go, basically, and he should be able to get that.
But for 64 car, that'll come in as soon as 40 minutes is up.
Correct.
And then hand that over to Owen Trinkler, and he will stay in for the rest.
TCR,
20 minutes.
TCR have come in. Joe Bradley.
Yeah, I'm with the 17 Audi, and that's looking like tyres going on the front. I'll wait just a moment to see if they're going to change tyres on the rear. Fueling going in. Fueling's already completed. And of course, 5 wheel studs to undo, and the right-hand one is being a bit awkward for the wheelman. It looks like just front tyres, though, for the 17. Flings his wheel gun at me. Trapped it. You would have been proud of that trap, just like a football, John. They're really, really losing time here on the right front.
Front tire change for our leader coming in, the number 37 Honda, Matt Pomo. Front tires for both the 98 and the number 1 Brian Herta Honda Sport Elantras. No tire change for the mighty Alpha, and they leave the pit lane second to the Honda. But now it's looking like a stroke of genius by bringing in Dr. Will Talley in the 73 Honda, giving him just a little bit more fuel and sending him out. Unfortunately, all the chasing cars have new rubber.
Yeah, but that's not important right now. I think track position's really, really interesting. So Alex Filsinger, Motorsports in Action, the Mia McLaren, and that incident down at turn 7 with Gary Ferreira for World Sports, that is being looked at and is under review. So still under full course yellow, the second. Michelin moment of the race then was some of those tricky little stops. Maybe the turning point. We'll find out in about an hour and a half's time. Just under. Shea Adam and Joe Bradley down there in the pits. Jeremy Shaw, John Hindhaugh in the global broadcast booth overlooking the start-finish line. Thank you for joining us. If you're here at the track, 100.9 FM around the world on RS2 IMSA Radio, splitting our coverage between RS2 and RS1 this Super Sebring. All the IMSA content on RS2, that will include in later on this evening the darkness practice sessions into the twilight light. Nighttime practice at Sebring. Yes, yes, yes. There's nothing about that I don't like the sound of. First time we'll have seen the new GTPs over the bumps in the dark. And of course our FIA World Endurance Championship coverage is on RS1 as it is for the whole of the season. And we'll have qualifying for that for you coming up later on this afternoon. So we are now, this time around, we are 3 minutes shy of minimum drive time. And another safety car lap is going to be around about 4 minutes. So question for Shea Adam, are you allowed to follow the safety car into the pit lane?
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay.
And there are many teams that are planning to do that, John. So perhaps we're going to see some of that pay off as well. And I bet you those teams are hoping that we go to another yellow, whereas everybody else hopes we stay green for a little while.
Well, there's an awful lot of cars at the front of the field who have not yet stopped. And you would expect, as we're commencing the GS class split, which means all the GS cars come back to the front. So that's good news for the people who did stop, but effectively we've got 15 cars, I reckon, Jeremy, that didn't stop at all in either of those two yellow flag
IMSA
periods.
Racing on NBC Sports is brought to you by Michelin. Track to street, perform on all roads with legendary Michelin Pilot tires.
Yeah, no, I mean,
And
Kay's
by
pretty quick,
Ford.
so
Built for America.
He may well stay out there. I would certainly expect Tom Collingwood to come in, and for sure Sean Quinlan as well, Anton Diaz-Pereira for sure, probably Garrett Adams, definitely Ted Giovannis, and of the rest, yeah, some will, some won't. Bob Michelin might well be in car number 59. Did he come? Oh, he's already made a stop,
Yeah.
so he'll probably come in and hand over that car to Luca Mars for the second part of the race, even though he's only done a few laps of green. I don't know, he might well stay out for a little bit. But for sure, I would suggest Tom Collingwood will be perhaps the farthest up the field to come in right now. Not to say that others won't, because it's a gamble at this stage, and we've only had 2.5 laps of green flag racing, unfortunately, so far, which is really disappointing. The first 40 minutes and virtually no proper racing.
Indeed so. And yet there are still people who've made up positions. Well done then. Well done then. Eric Filgueras, notable among that. Remember, the grid was set not from a qualifying session. We didn't get... Has been quite untidy in the GS class all week, hasn't it, really, when you think about it? We didn't get any meaningful running, combination of people falling off and bad weather during the qualifying. You wouldn't think it was the same week. You wouldn't think it was the same season, actually, from what we had earlier on in the week. So Joe Bradley telling me that at his end of the pit lane, the Random Vandals number 92 team are ready for a pit stop. The lights are out on the very, very attractive blue Cadillac V-Series safety car, which accelerates away using all of its not inconsiderable power and torque, and a bit of weaving side to side from Kenny Murillo. That's all right, he's allowed to do that. Although I have to say, I much prefer the Australian rules, where as soon as the safety car lights go out, you cannot overlap and you cannot weave. Through the final corner then, with, we are inside, we have done 40 minutes, 40 and a half minutes. So if you want to change your driver, minimum drive time has been accomplished. The leader, Kenny Murillo, stays out, but for how long? Down the inside at turn 1, BGB and Aurora Strauss trying to go around the outside of that car. Tom Collingwood. That's a very interesting battle indeed. Strauss gets the best of that, I reckon, and goes up into 4th place. Yeah, great restart from Aurora Strauss in the Artura from McLaren. In TCR, again, a slightly split Brian Ortiz from Gottsacke, from Steve Ike in the Hart Honda, and then Victor Gonzalez Racing.
That's right, Brian Ortiz, he took the lead from the pole-sitting car right before that second full-course caution, so he stayed out in front. The Honda that had been leading did come in to the pits during that most recent stop. The only 2 cars to come in as we went back to green were indeed Ted Giovannis and Paul Sparta, number 64 and 92, so they will make their driver changes now.
2 penalties coming in. First of all, for the number 39, yes it is, the number 39, and that is going to be a drive-through, a column pass it says here, so that was obviously on the lineup. Wrong starting driver. How did that manage to happen? And of course we haven't had that much green flag, as Jeremy rightly said, so that's going to take the 14 down the pit lane. 1-4, and running the red light, and that's a stop at 30 by the way, running the red light at pit exit, Austin McCusker for Van der Steur Racing, that'll be a stop in 60. So those are some very, very costly penalties. 14 wrong starting driver, Tiago Camillo in the AV Motorsports Toyota.
Rather than Alfredo Nadri, who I think went out for qualifying yesterday.
And the other one I mentioned, what did I say, it was the 39, Sean McAllister, the car barn car, a column pass. So all of those cars down pit lane, and we have variously a drive-through, a stop and 30 and a stop and 50. Now Kenton Cook has taken over his car, the number 92. Spin at turn 1 for the BMW number 25. That's JC de Betz. and gets her pointing in the right direction quickly enough. So let's see if he was helped or whether he tipped himself into it. Kenny Murillo from Anthony McIntosh and Jeff Mosing, that's your top three, separated by 2 seconds. JC DeBetts, oh, well, the Camaro was close, Frank Depew, excuse me, but I'm not sure I saw any contact there. Expect to see Frank Depew in the pit lane very shortly.
Yeah, the number 25 car had made a pit stop, that's why it's farther down the order there. He'd been one of those cars who, in fact, he was the third highest placed cars on the lead lap that did come in during that first caution period. In the GS field, I should say. These are all on the lead lap at that stage.
Hi, Paul. You guys just missed out on that yellow coming in early, didn't you? The safety car. Was it always the plan for you to do the minimum drive?
That was actually planned for us. I mean, our intention. Really? Yes, our intention was to get the driver change done. If we get another yellow, we're going to catch back up again. So that was intentional on our part to do this double pit there.
So that was ideal for you. That yellow car, the safety car coming in, the 92 BMW was well timed for that stop.
Yes, that's exactly what we're planning. So we had to start in the back and roll the dice a little bit. So that's what we decided to do. And I think we got Kenton in the car now, so we'll see what we can do.
So how much do you have to pay the officials for that to happen? Well done, Paul. Paul Sparta there. He's the driver that brought the 92, the Random Vandals.
You like
race
that,
team.
don't you?
I do that. I want to know what it means.
Well, you should ask him.
Well, ask him. He is the man.
Yeah, he is the man. Paul Sparta then out of the Random Vandals 92 BMW. Meantime, 3 wide for a moment into turn number 1. At the head of the field, though, Kenny Murillo is pulling away, 2.8 seconds. So he's got the hammer down. Suggests to me that he's trying to build up a bit of a gap before they come in for their stop. The best of the cars that have stopped is Robert McGuinness in Turner Motorsports, number 95. Why does that not surprise me? He is up to 9th position last time around. Oh, and a problem for the BMW of Stephen Cameron Racing, the 43 car. That car off the circuit at turn 4 into 5 has rejoined. I was looking at the tyres to see if he'd done any damage. I don't think they have. Now, again, in traffic, Camaro's there again. Was there a tiny little touch? I don't think there was, actually. Again, oh, yes, there was. There wasn't when I was expecting it. There was at exit turn number 5. So Frank Depew getting his elbows out. Around the outside, pass being attempted there by the BMW, number 43. Now being bumped down the order just a little bit. Who's in that car, Jeremy? Was it Sean Quinlan? Yes, it was. So that was the battle for 11th and 12th there. Time to get Frank in, I think. A little bit of damage on the Rockwell Audi coming down to the remaining Rockwell Audi coming down to turn 17. Actually, it's a bit of the wrap which is flapping around on that car. Remember, we lost 3 TCRs early in a big crash at turn 1. Oh, and Aurora Strauss just moving across into the Ford Mustang of Jensen Altman as she was having a battle for 5th position. Altman's gone through, and following him through, the Aston Martin, I think, there of Moitzi Uretsky. Yes, it is. So Aurora Strauss, having been holding her own in the top 5, just dropped a couple of 3 places, now sits in 8th in the Artura. A lot of people dropping Michelin tyres onto the dirt here. That shows you how hard they are pushing. No one pushing harder than Kenny Murillo at the moment. He stretched his lead to 4 seconds. His gap back to Robert McGuinness, who's the first car that hasn't stopped, is only 12 seconds. So there's no chance of him getting in and out, making the pit stop. That's not what they're going for now. I think if he stayed out this long now, Jeremy, he's going to try and just push on to as close to making this a one-stop race as he possibly can. Lots of yellow earlier on, and we're 11 minutes away from half distance. We know that the TCRs can... We know that the TCRs can do an hour. What do we reckon for the GSs? About 45 minutes?
Yeah, 45, 50 minutes. You know, finally now we've got, what, three and a half laps in of green, and a good fastest lap last time around for Kenny Murillo with 2:11.3. There's only a few cars actually in the 2:12s, so he's pulling away quite rapidly. 4.1 seconds was his gap last time around. And Anthony McIntosh chasing gamely in another Mercedes for JTR Motorsports Engineering behind him, and now Eric Filgueras has just got past Jeff Mosing up into third place then for the Porsche car number 28.
It's a nice run by Jensen Altzman, first season in this championship. A decent race at Daytona for McCumbee McAleer Racing. Certainly he is adapting to the GT4, comes out of a couple of seasons of Idemitsu Mazda MX-5, running in P5 at the moment as he goes across the line with Robert McGuinness now right in behind him. That is the first of the cars that has stopped. This is great from Turner Motorsport. Now let's hope for some green flag. I want to see this strategy play out now, Jeremy, as we get deeper into the race, because we are seeing very different strategies. McGuinness took rear tyres only on that BMW M4. I'm really interested to see the strategies play out as we get into this race. In TCR, Brian Ortiz of Van der Steur Racing in the Hyundai Elantra number 91. That's a car with a bit of provenance. Has been a Brian Herter Autosport BHA car for the past couple of seasons, ran as the number 1 and the number 2 in various seasons. He's got the 33 of Brian Herter Motorsport. Harry Gottsacker right in behind him in the works coloured Hyundai Elantra. Then the first of the Hondas, the number 37 LA Honda World, Matt Pombo. They're going through the hairpin at turn 7 now. Steve Ike is about a second further back in the red, white and black Hart number 89 Honda. Then Victor Gonzalez for VGRT,
who started at the back.
Engine change for that car.
Yep.
Coming into this race week. They had a failure, or at least they weren't happy with something. The car stopped out of the circuit. He did get it back, and then they missed qualifying whilst they were fitting a brand new 2-litre twin cam. Behind that, it's Will Talley, Dr. Will Talley in the 73 car, and he has made a pit stop, as is Matt Pombo, I should say, by the way. Matt Pombo did come through the pit lane in that 37.
And Robbie Foley in the 96 BMW, that car has made a stop. It's actually made 2 stops, and he's just set the fastest, not only did he just set the fastest lap of the race at 2 minutes 10.3, there's also a new lap record. Robin Liddell held the old standard at 2 minutes 10.9. The fastest lap last year was a 2:11.1, but a 2:10.378 for Robbie Foley in car number 96. A long way down the order at the moment, but there's a long way to go also in this race.
The good thing for Robbie Foley is he has new right side tires as they put those on when Vin Barletta did come in for the pit stop. And for the 2 Hondas, Dr. Will Talley was fuel only, but the 37 Matt Pombo, those were new front tires. So LA Honda World also splitting their strategy, as into the pit lane finally comes Frank Depew. And yes, we are going to get, no, we're not. Actually, I take that back. He did not stop in his box. He's serving a drive-through. Was there a penalty, John?
Yeah, incident with the number 43, Stephen Cameron Racing BMW. And I think that's reasonable. That's such a shame, actually, because he'd done well and the yellows had fallen for him. Good battle coming out of turn 8 to 9 at the moment. This is Ford versus BMW. And that is Jensen Altzman for McCumbee McAleer Racing in the white with grey stripes. Ford going into turn 10. Robert McGuinness sticks the nose of the Turner BMW up the inside. There's a bit of a crossover, but he can't make that one stick. Jensen takes back the racing line as he comes through the twisties. Oh, that was very nice driving by McGuinness. Gets to the inside, which is the right-hand side for Tower Turn. And in all fairness, Jensen did not make that too difficult for him. Could have shut the door there, but that would have been a pretty dangerous manoeuvre, and they are on absolutely opposite strategies at the moment. McGuinness has made a pit stop and will go deep into the race, where as young Jensen Altman, he'll be running to the fuel in that car before he's told to bring it in to the pit lane. I would think they would want him, if he can, to get probably another 10 minutes out of that car, maybe 15. If he can soft pedal that car, it'll be one more stop for them as well.
Yeah, should be no problem. They should be able to, he'll need another 15, I reckon, John. 15 minutes, so another seven laps possibly before he comes in, and I think you're right. I think he should be able to get to the end from there. So that's the stretch. For those that haven't made that first stop now in GS, I think that'll be their strategy. Stay out until they can hopefully make it from one more pit stop, with that just one pit stop during the race.
Hello to you if you are just joining us. Just a bit of housekeeping here. In 2021, you'll remember the number 71 Camaro won with a single pit stop with a lot of soft pedal fuel saving from Robin Liddell. The Camaro, along with one or two of the other cars, has had the fuel tank capacity reduced. So I'm hearing from the team, thank you Declan, that even without the intervention of the safety car, that would have been very difficult this year. Now, okay, there's been a lot of safety car, in all fairness. More passing at Tower Turn. This time, it's the number 28 Porsche that goes by the number 23 Porsche. So that was a battle for second position. It goes past the 23 Mercedes, excuse me. So Eric Filgueras, who started way back, has just dealt with the Mercedes of JTR and immediately pulls out a gap. So Figueras here, Jeremy, being given the hurry up and trying to close the gap down, the 7 seconds gap, back to Kenny Murillo, who leads the class at the moment.
Yeah, but and he's turning some quick laps, but Kenny Murillo just turned his best lap last time around, 2 minutes 10.5. Again, really good lap there. Robbie Foley just set a new lap record a couple of laps before, the 10.3. So a 10.5 is a really good effort from Kenny Murillo. We'll see now what sort of lap times Eric Filgueras can do. Last time around, it was a 2:11.3. That was when he was closing up on Anthony McIntosh for second place.
I'm impressed with McIntosh, actually. I think he's taken to this rather well, Jeremy.
I agree. He's done a really good job. You know, considering his relative lack of experience with most of these contenders out there, he's done an excellent job, has Anthony. Just hugely enthusiastic about his racing. He had some health issues a few years ago, after which he determined, hey, look, life's for living. And he'd always wanted to do some racing, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's running a couple of different series. He's still racing in the Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Cup as well, isn't he? So getting a lot of seat time and taking advantage of that experience.
Yeah, as is his teammate, Jared Thomas, the JT of JTR.
Yep.
And spent his $250,000 prize money very wisely, did Jared, and has helped them build a very decent business, running 6 Idemitsu Mazda MX-5s in the championship this year, and a limited program, not a full season as far as we're aware so far, in GT4 here in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. All part of the IMSA family, all part of the IMSA way. Now, some lappery going on now, Jeremy, as the TCRs are being caught by, theoretically, the faster GT4s or GSs, but the TCRs are fairly nimble, particularly through the twisty stuff. It's not always cut and dried to get through.
True that, and there's going to be some interesting battles there as these the cars that might, you know, as you say, the GS cars are faster.
That was a pass for the lead in the TCR category. Excuse me, Jeremy. Sorry for that.
No, you're right.
As the Stephen Cameron BMW came through, that was the opportunity that Harry Gottsacker was looking for, and he's nipped by Brian Ortiz. Matt Pombo sitting right in with them. So that was Sean Quinlan, actually a pass for position, because he'd got behind those cars So that wasn't lappery, my apologies, but it was a quicker car coming through, and that was the opportunity for the Hyundai to come around the right-hand side following the BMW. Maybe a little bit of draft there. Pombo tries down the inside as well, but discretion the better part of Valor going into turn 10. He drops back into third position. But certainly the BMW coming down the inside of Brian Ortiz at turn number 7, and Ortiz just getting onto the dirt, maybe just spinning up the Michelins on the front there. That was the opportunity for the then second place Harry Gutsacker in the Hyundai to get down the inside. Following, as I say, the haul made by the BMW. So new TCR leader there. And it's Brian Hurd at Autosport. And now Matt Pombo tries his luck on the Van der Steur Racing blue and white Hyundai. It looks completely different in the Van der Steur Racing, those new Van der Steur Racing colours. The blue and white and the chevrons on that car.
It is sharp, isn't it? It matches the number 19 Aston that's running in the GS class.
Yeah.
For that team as well. Austin McCusker, I think, had some problems early on. He had a penalty, and he'll be sharing that car with with Rory van der Steur. A couple of changes farther down the order. Aurora Strauss, she's been overtaken by Anton Diaz-Pereira, who's having one of his best runs in that Lone Star Racing car number 27. That's a Mercedes. Anton just up into 8th position now. Long way back from Moise Uretsky in 7th, but he's now ahead of that whole string of cars that have been held up by Aurora Strauss. Tom Collingwood in there as well. Hugh Plum, little ways back, a couple of seconds back. I'm surprised that he hasn't put a bit more pressure on that little group in front of him. And then John Capestri-Dubet's making up for that spin a little while ago.
Yeah, he's got about 2 seconds between himself and Thomas Collingwood in the BGP Motorsports car. I remember that was the Paul sitting car, that green Porsche, and that hasn't stopped yet. Also, just looking further down after that drive through, that's dropped Frank Depew from battling for 11th place down to 20th. The Team TGM number 64 has been in the pits and changed. Owen Trinkler then. Now, has he lost the lead lap there? Is he right on the end of the lead lap in the number 64 car? Try and work that one out from where he is when he comes across the line here. Yeah, keep an eye on that car coming through. Yeah, he's dropped the lap, hasn't he?
Yeah, but Robbie Foley hasn't. Robbie Foley is on the lead lap. He's in 31st position, a long way back, but I think he is still on the lead lap, and that's the car that set the fastest lap of the race.
Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhaugh in the booth. Nice to have your company wherever you are.
Changed for 4th position last time around. Robert McGuinness getting past Jeff Mosing, so number 95 BMW ahead of the Mosing Mercedes. And then not too far behind them is Jason Altsman in that Ford. Best of the Fords, car number 13. Moise Uretsky hanging with him very nicely indeed. And then that long gap back to Anton Diaz-Pereira, car number 27, just ahead of Aurora Strauss's number 58 McLaren.
Pit stop for one of the Hyundais, which has come in. That's Harry Gotzacker, who was leading the category. Oh, and a big problem for the Hart Honda.
Oops.
Is the... Well, is it an engine problem or is it a right front puncture? I think it is an engine problem down at turn 7.
Or is it the fire extinguisher?
It could be the fire extinguisher's gone off inside. This will be a full course yellow. So brilliant timing for Gotzacker. He's in the pits at the moment. He'll complete his pit stop and get back out onto the back of the line. Well, what rotten luck here for the number 89 Hart car down at turn 7. They are such a hard-working team. Remember, this is done in their off hours from the Honda plant at Maryville. So, battling with the front-running cars as they were going through traffic. I think he's going to get a clip here that's going to do some damage. Victor Gonzalez Racing was there. The second Rockwell car was in there as well. there was just a little tap, and with the Victor Gonzalez racing car, and I think that's done some suspension damage, and that was what we saw, the rubbing on either the right front or the, oh no, there's definitely some.
That's the LA Honda car, isn't it?
That was the LA Honda car, excuse me, it wasn't the Victor Gonzalez car, it was the LA Honda car. So what is that smoke? I can't smell. It's tyres. It's rear. It's a rear or a front right tyre, and that must have been banged into where it was the slightest of touches. Yeah, the right front wheel and tyre, I don't think was turning there. There was the slightest of touches.
Well, it was a fairly stout. Yeah, it's pretty.
Everybody was trying to avoid the Rockwell car that had gone off.
No, that was behind them, I think, wasn't it?
Good news is
that Hondas got together, didn't they?
Good news is that Steve Ike is out of the car, but that, I'm afraid, is going to be the end of the day. And confirmed that it was, well, ahead of him there was contact definitely between Matt Pombo and another car, which I think was the Eric Rockwell driven Rockwell number 10 car, and that might have just precipitated all of that. 37 in contact with the right hand side of the 89 Hart car, and it's broken something. The right rear wheel doesn't look to be pointing the right direction. Maybe broken the rear axle on that car. So for the third time, so originally it was Pombo with stout contact on the Rockwell car that was going a lap down. Opportunity for Steve Ike to take the position as he tries to drive up. The Rockwell car is behind. Jeremy was right on that, and he gets the Victor Gonzalez elbow as well. The LA Honda World car.
Well, it seemed to slow coming off the corner, didn't it?
I think the exit of that corner tightens, and I think he was offline, and he maybe had to lift or go off the track.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
Well, whatever it was, I think took Steve Ike there by surprise.
Yeah.
And he certainly wouldn't have wanted to hit the tail of the other Honda, but yeah, they seemed to be going into the corner, half a car between them, reasonable length between them, but all of a sudden that gap diminished, and one Honda ran into the back of the other.
Shea Adam down in the pit lane. You ready for some GS pit stops?
Oh, I'm so ready for this, and I love the camaraderie up on the pit wall. We've got Cameron Lawrence, who just waved to say hello as he waits to get into the number 95 Turner Motorsport BMW, and climbing up onto the wall, Stephen McAleer looking and waving down the pit lane to Chad McCumbee, his co-team owner, a few boxes down, and the guy who won this race 1 year ago, who will be jumping aboard the McCumbee-McAleer Racing Ford Mustang. So we are in for a serious treat for the end of this race, and now the cars are headed down the lane, led by Kenny Murillo, who will be jumping out of that Mercedes, handing over to Christian Simchek. And the second car, Eric Fulgueras, excellent job by him, jumping up from 22nd position to second when the RS1 Porsche hits its marks.
Cars peeling past me as they head up towards Shea. I've got the Mustang, the number 13 Mustang coming right in front of me, and this is now a race to the flag, isn't it? It's all important. All of these cars coming in together, and this is where you can make places. This is what makes it a team sport, because the crew can really have an effect out there on track by doing this job clean. This can have an effect, and right now that's what looks like it's happening.
4 tires and fuel for every GS car on this end of the pit lane. Joe, you're right. It's going to be a dogfight to the checkered flag as we've got driver changes up and down. And finally, Robin Liddell will be jumping in the Chevy Camaro with the first car out and away. Cameron Lawrence, 2-time Trans Am champion, a guy who knows how to win here at Sebring. He is clear and gone. Remember, they changed the rear tires on that car before, so they had to change the fronts and give it some fuel. Robbie Foley now has 4 new tires, having gotten 2 new Michelins on his last stop. Second car back down off the lane, though, is Kristen Simchek from that Mercedes that came came in from the lead. Then we have the other Murillo Racing Mercedes. That's Eric Voss, free agent next year for anybody who might just be interested in a silver driver. Then the Crucial Motorsport McLaren, Aurora Strauss handing over to Michael De Casada. And then the RS1 Porsche of Stephen Mackley.
Quite the tragedy down here for the McCumbee Mackley Racing with Aerosport Mustang. The number 13 I described as everything going so well. I'm on a carpet of wheel nuts here, by the way. What happened was the pit stop was finished. The car went down off the jacks, and then the left rear guy, he waved his hands in the air. Get the car back up on the jacks, he shouted. The car had to go back up on the jacks. It's actually left the pit lane in dead last position.
And the last car off the pit lane is the number 64. No, sorry, there is still the 85, the Crucial Motorsport McLaren with the other car. But the 64 Team TGM, that is Owen Trinkler, who was the last car doing service for 4 new tires that we expect to see in the full season of the championship. He now goes back out to catch up with the safety car train as we anticipate a slew of stops from the TCR competitors. It should move Robbie Wickens into the lead of the race in that 33 BHA Hyundai, because he did come into the pits right before the caution came out, but everybody else owes us a driver change.
Thank you, Shea. And the pits will open next time round for TCR. We're coming down to 50 minutes to go. The clear up is almost complete down at turn 7. The luckless Hart Honda on the back of the flatbed, but still the pit stops for TCR. And they will be able to go from here, Jeremy, no doubt at all.
No doubt at all. In fact, the number 33 car, they came in just after the hour mark and would have been confident to get to the end from there in any case. But so they don't need to come in now. Everybody else pretty much does in TCR. So the number 33 car will go for last to first in TCR. And in the meantime, we'll have to wait and see where the cars come around to complete this 24th lap in the race. But I think that the GS cars should be able to get to the end from here, because it's going to be a while yet before we go back to green.
Just a point on that TCR, Harry Gutsacker had just taken the lead before he pitted.
The lap before, correct.
So he, he led the race. Yep. He came in for what he was expecting to be a green flag stop, and mayhem ensued behind him. Unless he'd seen that happening behind.
I think he was already in. No,
I think he was already in. Yeah.
And they were past the hour mark in the race, so I think, as I say, they would have been confident to get.
Oh yes, he must have come in ahead of them, of course.
Yeah, correct.
So they'd gone around.
Yep.
So they were thinking to themselves, we'll make this our one and only stop.
Yep.
And this might have worked even better than they could have hoped for. All right, Shea Adams, stand by. You've got the Van der Steur Racing Hyundai coming towards you.
And we've got both of the LA Honda World cars in as well. Remember, it will be fuel for Will Talley, who will be getting out and handing over to Mike Lamara, as he is doing now. But it should be fuel only for Ryan Eversley in the number 37, the pole-sitting Honda. The red one that was started so brilliantly by Matt Pombo. It's a pit stop with full service for the Alpha. New tires and fuel, as well as driver change. That's Tim Lewis Jr. taking over, and his family is actually on site to cheer him on today, so it's a little bit extra special. For both of the Hyundais further up down towards Joe Bradley, driver changes and tires going on there. And for the JDC Unitronic Audi, that also fuel and tires, and Mikey Taylor taking over. John, yesterday he was hiding out in the rain trying to stay warm. He's definitely warm today.
Well, Hyundai pit stops weren't that clean, or as clean as we would have liked. The 98 car got the job done really well. The number 1 car slightly slower in the pit stop. However, the 98 was restricted on getting off the pit apron by the number 1. It had to be pushed back, and by the time they've gone out, I think the 98 got ahead of the 1, but that's for the marshals at the pit exit to decide who's won that little race.
Yes, you're right, Joe. The number 98, Mark Wilkins, now behind the wheel of the Elantra, got it just ahead of Michael Lewis. They did have to pause at the end of the pit lane, and I really hope they didn't that nobody ran the light down there. All right, biggest mover in the first part of the race is the LA Honda World 37 goes behind the wall, that Honda. Biggest mover was, well, absolutely overtaking Maestro. Shea Adam is with Eric Figueras.
It was funny because Mrs. McAleer posted a video this morning. Sorry, I have to say. Just because she is. About Stephen, a couple years ago, passing the entire field, I think it was 15 cars in one lap. Eric Fogares, clearly you saw that video, decided to do one better today. From 22nd to 2nd, how was that stint?
Yeah, incredible. You know, with something like that, it's a mixture of calculated aggression and patience all in once. You know, these RS1 guys put complete faith in me today to get the car to the front. It was really all about execution. These guys did a fantastic job with the pit stop. Stephen Mackler's in, so who better could you have to finish out a race? Thanks to Community Beer Works, Porsche Naples, everyone who supports us. It's been a fantastic day so far, especially after the Daytona that we had. Considering we won the race in 2022, we're trying to come back strong.
You've been testing another new Porsche that will be running for the upcoming season, but for you guys, how comfortable is it to get back into your Cayman GT4 RS?
Yeah, you know, in a way, it kind of slowed things down. We're preparing to race a GT3 992 variant of Porsche's GT3 car in a different series. So coming out of that car to get back into this, it's like everything sort of slowed down. It's almost like you're overdriving the car at that point. But, you know, it'll be a big year for us, RS1, Community Beer Works, Porsche Naples, and we're really excited. We've got 40 and change to finish out this race. It's going to be an exciting finish. We're ready for it.
Get your popcorn. Good luck.
Thanks, Shay.
I have my popcorn. I have my popcorn.
Robert Wickens actually leads this race overall now in the number 33 car. However, before we go back to green, the GS cars will cycle ahead of all the TCRs, so he won't be able to take that position, unfortunately, much as he'd like to. Give himself a big buffer over the other TCR cars. He won't be able to do that, and so it'll be another lap or two before we go back to green, and he will have to give up that lead, and it'll be Cameron Lawrence who leads the way in car number 95, the Turner Motorsport BMW. He's taken over from Robert McGuinness, did a really good first stint, brought that car up into fourth position, despite having been one of the cars that came in to the pits during that early caution with 9 laps in the books.
Wicked Bill, I think, probably reflecting the view of quite a number of us, including in the booth, saying, not going to lie, struggling to get into this race. Can we have some green flag running? It does need some green flag running. You're right. Yeah, we had 10 laps in that last stint, and which was a pretty reasonable run. This is, given it's a long racetrack, long track, 3.7 miles. So 10 laps was that's 20 minutes, wasn't it?
Bad, yeah.
Is what you're talking about, just a little over 20 minutes.
Yeah, 25 minutes or so, yeah.
44 minutes to go. We're preparing for the class split, which will put all the GS cars back ahead. And therefore, Robert Wiggins' time at the top of the timing monitor has been short. Shea Adam with some drama in the pit lane.
Guys, the number 85 Crucial Motorsports McLaren is on fire. There is black smoke coming out of the left front. I think it might just be a brake fire, but it smells really hot, and there are fumes coming out of the cockpit
IMSA Racing
as well.
on NBC Sports is brought to you by Michelin.
Very
Track to street.
News.
Perform on all roads with legendary Michelin pilot tires.
With us. Still to come today,
Ford.
as far
Built for America.
as IMSA coverage is concerned, live from trackside here at Sebring. We have the nighttime practice for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. We'll have full live sound and vision coverage for everybody, whether you're here in the US or abroad. Tomorrow of qualifying for the WeatherTech Championship, and between all that, over on our sister channel RS1, we'll have the FIA WEC qualifying to come later on this afternoon, swapping between RS1 for WEC and RS2 IMSA Radio for the IMSA content. An awful lot of the IMSA content today, including the Porsche Deluxe Carrera Cup North America Race 2, will be free on the world video feed. No subscriptions required for that. You can get it here in the US and around the world. You go to IMSA.tv or go to IMSARadio.com and click on the drop-down menu on the top left-hand side, and you will be able to see the live video tab. There has been some, I think there's been a suspension collapse on that number 85 car, but the fire is out. Joe Bradley is down at the number 1 car. We're about to go green. Let's have a quick word with Taylor Hagner. Not been the best weekend for her in terms of qualifying and running earlier on. How's it going now, Joe?
No, this is going to teach her a lesson of being nosy and find out where that smoke was coming from, because I've caught her. I'm going to have to ask you the question, Taylor. These shorter races, the 2-hour races, they seem really frantic. Do you enjoy that better than the longer ones?
Yeah, definitely. I think the longer ones are a lot of fun just because it's longer and there's a lot more run time, but I don't think it's as hectic, so you're kind of chill for a while versus these shorter ones where my stint and Michael's stint are both very involved.
Now, very busy weekend for you. Here you are at Sebring, a unique racetrack. You're dashing across the Atlantic, where you'll compete in your very first NLS race at the equally as unique Nürburgring. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We actually flew here. From there, we had to do the driving academy over there and then flew straight here, and I really loved the track, so I'm excited to go back.
So what time of day is it now?
Right now, I don't know what time it is here, but we're 6 hours ahead in Germany still, so.
All right, good luck at the weekend and good luck for the rest of this one. Thanks, Taylor.
5 hours ahead in Germany actually at the moment, Taylor, because the clocks have gone forward. And if you want to find out how Taylor and the rest of the BHA guys actually are doing over there, they're getting ready to do the Nürburgring 24 hours, the first NLS Nürburgring Langstrecke series, live in sound and vision via radiolemans.com with Peter Snowden and Johnny Palmer. That will be early on Saturday morning. Actually, might get to see it before we've even got started here. That's going to be starting around about 6-7 o'clock in the morning over here in Florida. Right, we've got back to green during that, and everybody is rubbing paint now. So the last 40 minutes getting underway, and now nobody has any patience, Jeremy. Right. Taylor was talking about that. No patience showing here at all as Jared Thomas is elbowing his way through the pack and right alongside the BGB Porsche, the bright green car. There's a little side swipe there as they got together.
Yeah, Spencer Papelli moving his way forward. Christian Schimczak got the lead there from Cameron Lawrence, who struggled a little bit on that first lap. And there's two Turner Motorsport BMWs. They were side by side for probably half of that restart lap. I think Robbie Foley has managed to get ahead of Cameron Lawrence, who was leading at the restart.
We'll see them cut past us in a moment. And there they go. It is Christian Schimczak. It is the 72 from Robbie Foley in second. Then Cameron Lawrence for Turner. So the two Turner cars on slightly different strategies, but have found their way at the front of the field. Then Stephen McAleer for RS1 in that number 28 Porsche. Then Murillo, Matt Plum now has taken over the car from Hugh. Not sure if that tactic paid off for them. They came in from second position, remember. And Team TGM then in sixth.
Yeah, they've made up one position since the restart at the expense of who?
That would be
58 car.
Yeah,
got past 58. Got past Michael Casada, yeah.
Yes, the crucial McLaren.
Right.
Exactly right. By the way, Owen Trinkler in the other Team TGM car is back on the lead lap, and
Luca Mars
in the and the BGB car with damage to the left, to the right-hand side, excuse me, and that car will not make very much more ground. I think that needs to be parked. There's all kinds of fluids coming out from under the front of that car, and tyre rub as well. Yeah. So Luca Mars, and in the Ford, and it's turn 7 again. So big
hit from behind.
Big thump
by Bill Oberlin. That was Bill Oberlin who thumped the Spencer Papelli there in the tail. Wow, that's unlike Bill to make that sort of mistake. And poor Spencer Papelli, he knew he had a really fast car. He had made up a couple of positions at that restart, but now he's got help there from behind that he really didn't need from Bill Oberlin.
He's done the gentlemanly thing and got off out of the way of the circuit. as he was catching that slide coming out of turn 6, he slid across the track into Luca Mars in the Ford.
Yeah.
And that's where Luca got his left-hand side damage and the right-hand side damage on what was the pole-sitting Porsche, the BGB bright green machine. Now off the side of the circuit, we stay green with 37 minutes to go, just under. And somebody's off at the exit of turn 17. It's one of the McLarens.
De Quesada.
It's De Quesada, excuse me. It's not one of the McLarens at all.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it is. My apologies. Oh, what a shame, because Aurora Strauss had done such a good job there.
Oh, she'd lost some ground, but Michael he'd lost one position at the restart there, but he just whether there was contact there to push that car wide at the exit of turn 17.
Full course yellow.
Yeah, another one.
Could have probably, if somebody had stayed out all this time and cycled to the front.
Tell you what, the guy, the big gainer out of this is Robin Liddell. All of a sudden he's inside the top 10.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, how things can turn around for that team, huh?
Yes, this is Robin Liddell time, isn't it? So 2 McLarens with dramas in quick succession. The brake fire on the... that was the 85 car, wasn't it, in the pit lane?
Made up at least 6 positions since the restart, Liddell.
And we've got a BMW stationary as well.
That's the Bill Oblin's car.
So Bill Oblin, who was the catalyst for at least some of this carnage down at turn 7, wrapped into the back of Spencer Pumpelly, who then got tangled up with Luca Mars in the Ford. All 3 of those cars, I believe, are off the circuit. And then in what I believe is a separate incident, De Quesada going off at turn 17, unless something was broken on that car, as the Rockwell number 10 Audi rejoins after coming into the pit, and that is the Eric Rockwell car. He had some woes earlier on. Let's pick up some interviews. Shea Adam first of all.
All right, Rob McGuinness in the 95 Turner Motorsport BMW, currently sitting P3. This is a lot better start to the season, isn't it?
Yeah, we're just going to forget Daytona happened at all. We're just going to start here.
That seems fair. Now, your problem is that in second is the team car. Are there team orders within Turner Motorsport?
No. Cameron and Robbie are both great drivers, so they're not going to hit each other. And, hopefully we can work together and get a 1-2 here. That'd be fun.
The joke is with Turner that when you guys win, you get tacos. If it's a 1-2, does that mean double the tacos or something extra special Mexican for dinner?
Maybe tacos and some tequila. I mean, that seems to make the most sense. That's what I'm pushing for over here.
This M4 GT4, you guys are running the new version of it, the G82. How good is it over the bumps in particular? Because I know that BMW has a lot of suspension travel. It's got to be a comfortable car.
It's a super comfortable car. It feels like a race car. I don't feel like I'm driving a road car in the slightest. And the team did a great job setting it up. It's great here. It's great over the bumps. It's great in the fast corners. It's really good on the brakes. So I'm super happy with the car so far. And clearly, everyone's doing a great job. So.
The race has been very staccato so far with a lot of caution, a lot of safety car intervention. Do you think that's going to help ultimately save a little bit of tires, or is everyone going to be in the same boat?
I think everyone will be in the same boat pretty much. I think the starts and restarts will make it more fun, give us more of a shot to get up front. So I'll take, whatever we can get here.
Fingers crossed for you, Rob.
Thanks, Shay.
So, Shea Adam down in the pit lane. We are under our 4th full course yellow or safety car intervention, and this time for the McLaren going off at turn 17, and Michael De Quesada, I didn't see any contact there. I think he just got onto, I'll call it the grey, but certainly off the racing line, and the car didn't seem to want to turn, and Michael couldn't get it stopped in time. Not the worst accident you can have at turn 17, that. We see far more destructive ones, but it's absolutely ruined his race. He's out of the car, by the way, and fine. But there'll be a little bit of clean-up to be done there, and the rearranging and repairing of the tyre wall, because that is right on the end of where the tyre wall is, protecting the concrete blocks at the exit of turn number 17, and I don't think we'll want to go back green before that has been looked at by the AMR safety team and track services to make sure that everything is A-OK from that point of view. Well, what a bizarre race we are having. What a bizarre race we've been having. If we had just left, imagine if you'd just stayed out and done your mandatory driver change at the last yellow with just over 40 minutes to go. You'd have been easily able to do this on one pit stop.
Yeah, which quite a few cars have done. And it's kind of interesting that, you know, number 72 car that led from the start, or from the first lap, when Kenny Murillo was able to find a way past the pole sitter on that first lap, he led all the way through until he made his one and only pit stop on lap 23 under caution, with just under an hour, or just under an hour to go, and he's handed that car over to Christian Shimjak. Robbie Foley, by contrast, has made three pit stops actually, and now is running in second position. So it just shows you how things can change. But Robbie was absolutely flying after that early stop, put on a fresh set of tyres, set a new lap record, and then once again the Turner team has worked its strategy perfectly. Because he was out of sequence with everybody else, he needed less fuel during that most recent stop, so that enabled him to jump up a lot of positions. And from there, here he is in second position. He's got past Cameron Lawrence, his teammate, who also came into the pits during that first caution period.
Jeremy, Shea, Joe, don't forget we're looking for your Michelin moment of the race. One for GS and one for TCR. Not an awful lot of green flag racing for us to consider here, but there has been a couple of very decent passes indeed. I still think about that pass for the lead really early on. There's Shea Adams just seen it, said about how I've not seen either yet. I hope there's something else to get excited about. And it's been a race of strategy, and I suspect several versions of strategies, to be honest. Right, I've got my piece of paper here. This is what we're going to do. Let's tear that up and throw it away. Right, this is version 2. No. Let's tear that. Be interesting to know how far down the strategy list of things we thought we might do the guys on the pit wall got down to on the radio. It's plan 42, plan 42B, 42B.
Yeah, cheapers.
The guys on the wall have worked hard.
Right now, for TCR, I would have to say number 33 team for making that call to come in at the earliest possible opportunity that they thought they could get to the end from, and it happened to be right before that full course caution. So,
well, sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're good, but the better you are, the luckier you get, in point of fact.
But as you pointed out, I mean, Harry Gottsacke, he'd taken a lead right before then in any case, so the car is legitimately running up front.
Correct.
And the strategy just turned out in their favour as well. So lucky and good.
Yeah. I remember Reinhold Jost saying to me at a Petit Le Mans one year, I'd rather be lucky than good. And I said, it's nice when it's both though, Reinhold, isn't it? Yeah. And he was sort of smiled in that enigmatic way that only Reinhold can. Still the clear up going on at the exit of turn 17. This is a short yellow, so the pits will not reopen. Not that I think anybody might want to come in unless somebody at the back wanted to put on a fresh or fresher set of Michelin rubber. But I think right now it's you basically playing the hand that you've got, and it's down to the drivers to make the best, Jeremy, of the cars, the tyres and the fuel load. Nobody's going to have any fuel problems, so everybody can run full rich, I would have thought.
Right, exactly right. And I think everybody was good on fuel in any case, with the timing for that the caution before this. So, yeah, I think there's no need for it now. And as you say, since it's within 15 minutes of going back to green after a full course caution, this is determined to be a short yellow, so there won't be the waiver rounds and the pit stop openings that they would normally be. But because it'd been so soon after the previous caution, just 2.5 laps again, there was no need to in any case. So as soon as we get this McLaren swept up and out of the way and get that barrier back into place, because he hit that tyre barrier pretty darn hard and it's moved it quite a long way. So that's the biggest hold-up at the moment.
How long does Robin Liddell need to get through and win the race? That's the question. How many laps does he need? That's a fast car, that Camaro. Sitting in 9th position at the moment, but he's got a restart to come. And we know how good the Scotsman is. He was in particularly feisty form when I spoke to him yesterday. Last season of competition for that GT4 Camaro, to be replaced next year by the bow tie, at least by a GT4 Corvette.
Yeah, if that team stays in Pilot Challenge, I've heard a little word that they might be moving up.
Well, there's a GT3 Corvette, next year, isn't there? Yes, not a GT4, so they could keep the bow tie.
Yeah.
They've been very, very loyal customers and loyal supporters of Chevrolet Racing. And you'd like to think, I'm sure there will be a scramble for the new GT3 Corvettes. But you'd like to think, wouldn't you, that if they wanted one or two, they could get one. They have got 3 of them now, the Camaros. And I was talking to another team who was considering switching to a Camaro this season because they think it's such a good package. We'll see if that comes to pass later in the season. Certainly not happened this weekend. But it is a very quick car in a straight line, and Robin Liddell knows how to drive it. If he's going to get to the front, he will have to get ahead of the 2 Porsches of Carbon and Nola Sport with Jeff Westphal and Elliott Skier behind the wheel. The Aston Martin of Matt Plum, Team TGM. The Murillo Racing Mercedes with Eric Voss in 5th position behind the wheel. Stephen McAleer for RS1 in the Porsche. He's in 4th. 3rd is Cameron Lawrence for Turner Motorsport. 2nd, his teammate in another M4 BMW GT4, Robbie Foley. And Christian Shimshak, who leads for Murillo Racing in another one of those Mercedes AMG GT4s.
And Shimshak still looking for his first win in the Michelin Pilot Challenge. He's had 3 second places. Kenny Murillo's actually only had 1 second place, I think. But they were 4th in the opening round of the championship at Daytona last time out. So a really good, strong start to the season for them. And Christian really doing a nice job here in the lead of this race. He made a nice, clean restart there, was holding on quite, ahead of the 2 Turner Motorsport BMWs while they were scrapping amongst themselves for 2nd place. Well, actually got past one, didn't he? Because he was behind at the restart because it's Lawrence that led at the green flag.
Indeed so.
So he's back to 3rd position. Robbie Foley has got into the middle of those 2. And the lights are... Are they out on the safety car? Is it now? No. Seems to be. Yeah, I think the lights are out on the safety car.
Yeah, it's pulling away.
Finally, it didn't seem to be pulling away initially, but it is now. All right, so we're going to have, 23.5 minutes remaining.
So, now, Christian Shimshak for Murillo Racing. He has control of the field. The Alan J Automotive Network 120 comes down to 23 minutes and 20 seconds as they take the green flag after the safety car, the Cadillac V-Series, pulls back into the pit lane. Immediate movement from Robin Liddell, who tries to get alongside the Carbon. He's past the Carbon with Peregrine Machine and now trying to work on the Nola Sport Porsche. So Liddell already up to 8th position in the Camaro. This is what Robin Liddell absolutely lives for. It's like one of those challenges on a platform game. You've got X amount of laps to pass X amount of cars at the front of the field. The leaders aren't getting away, bouncing into the braking area at turn 7. Shimshak with the Turner Motorsport pair behind him, having to defend there quite stoutly, but that was all right. He didn't move in the braking area. Shimshak now, though, looks to the left-hand side of the circuit, and already the BMW's there. Looks to the right mirror, he was there as well.
Yeah, Simchak's getting defensive, isn't he? Each of those last couple of
this
corners.
Is brilliant for Liddell. Liddell's right alongside Matt Plum for 6th position now. He's already passed Westphal, Skier, and he's on to Matt Plum at the moment. And we are not talking about rookie drivers here. Meantime, there will be a penalty for Bill Oberlin, a drive-through for that incident at turn 7. Now, not sure if the 25 has rejoined. It's still shown as stopped on my timing screen.
Yeah, that's out.
So that may not actually have to be served. Onto the back straight. With time ticking down. The two leaders. Again, all side by side, and this time Simchak just move over just a little bit. I think it was too late, though. I think it was too late as Robbie Foley gets the zebra-coloured BMW down the inside. The BS, the Bureau Sud on one side, the standard BMW Turner Motorsport colours on the other. Out of turn 17, and Turner BMW will lead with just on 21 minutes to go. That was planned, it was thought about, and it was executed perfectly from 2 or 3 corners back. And Simchak is now, oh, hang on a minute, he's looking at the same type of car behind him as Liddell is still there and trying to fight his way through at the moment in behind the
Elliot Skier, he made a good restart. The big loser there was Matt Plum, who's lost, 3 positions on that restart lap. Elliot Skier was the first to get past him. Then Robin Liddell and Scott Andrews has moved through as well.
Eric Foss has moved up as well, actually. So Foskey and Liddell have all moved up.
Well, he was 5th in any case.
Right.
Foss, he was 5th behind Stephen McAleer.
Yeah, Jeff Westphal's lost a few positions as well. Michael Cooper for accelerating performance has come through in his Aston Martin, and Jared Thomas in the dark blue with the pit stripes on it, the number 23 JTR car. He's making up positions as well. In TCR, Rob Wickens still leads by a scant 0.3 of a second from Tim Lewis. The Alpha has finally made its presence known. Hyundai from Alpha, from Honda in the shape of Carl Whitmer in the 99 Victor Gonzalez Racing Team, the red and white coloured car. Then a little gap back to Tyler Maxson for Van der Steur Racing in that very elegant colour scheme of VDSR. Really like that. Then Brian Herder Autosport, Mark Wilkins, then Mikey Taylor. And that is your top 6, separated by probably about 1 3/4 seconds in TCR. The BMW of Turner Motorsports, Robbie Foley, is not getting away. Simchak has fought off the second Turner car, and he's trying to, well, he's having to defend down into 17, and this time the 95. Cameron Lawrence goes round the outside. They are very close, and it gets very bumpy, and Lawrence is trying hard. He gets his nose ahead as they come to the line, and he'll be scored. I think in second place he is. Simchak tries to side draft and come back, but can't make that one stick. It's Stephen McAleer in 4th, Skier in 5th, Robin Liddell up to 6th now, Scott Andrews in 7th, and Eric Foss has dropped down from 5th to 8th position, with Matt Plum climbing back up to 9th position. My goodness, I don't think anybody is in the same position that they started that lap.
No, I think you might be right, actually. Has been a fair bit of shuffling there amongst that top 10. Back into the top 10 is Jared Thomas in the number 23 Mercedes. But boy, what a battle this is turning out to be. Robbie Foley, though, he's on a mission today, isn't he?
Who is?
Robin.
Yes.
Well, Robbie Foley.
Robbie Foley is, and Robin Liddell is as well. Still only 2 seconds between the Camaro and the leader, but Foley is beginning to break the toe from his Turner BMW teammate Cameron Lawrence. Now these guys will not fight at this point. 18 minutes still to go, and they need not to be slowing each other down. If they can work together and do a bit of drafting on some of the faster parts of the circuit, they may be able to build up a cushion between themselves and whoever else is fighting for 3rd. Meantime, at the front of the TCR field at turn 10, it's Hyundai versus Alpha, Robert Wickens versus Tim Lewis. Carl Whitmer, another 3/4 of a second further back for VGRT, Victor Gonzalez Racing Team. But he's just losing touch for the moment. But if these two start fighting, he'll be right there. Can't get complacent though, because Tyler Maxson for Van der Steur Racing in that blue and white Hyundai Elantra is just half a second behind him. So 2 pairs of cars, well, a pair and then probably a quartet actually.
Yeah.
Whitmer, Maxson, Wilkins and Mikey Taylor to make up the top 6. They're all within a few tenths of each other. As into the pit lane comes Chris Wilson in the number 11 AMG, the red and white Will Sport machine. Oh, this TCR battle is enthralling. Just enough of a gap between the first two so that Carl Whitmer was not getting a draft from them as he was going down the Ullman Straight. And at the front of the field, Robbie Foley, his lead cut to half a second.
Yeah, and the guy who's charging right now is Elliot Skier in car number 47 for Nola Sport. That's the best place of the Porsches, because he's just got past Stephen McAleer on that last lap. So the number 47 car took the restart in 7th position and is now up to 4th. That's Elliot Skier in car number 47.
Robin Liddell still quick in the Camaro. A 2:11.2 last time around, was only beaten by the leader and the best lap of their race so far for Turner Motorsports number 95 Cameron Lawrence, as he did a 2:11.3, an 11.7 for Shimchak, 11.3 for Skier, 12.1 for Stephen McAleer, 11.2 for Robin Liddell in the top 6 now. And at the front of the field, the battle has now been turned up to gas mark 7. Their heat is on. Defensive driving at turn 10, taking the middle of the road for our leader, Robert Wickens. Tim Lewis in second. Now, this will be brilliant for Carl Whitmer. He'll be good. Yeah, guys, fight. As soon as they're not taking the optimum line, that next bunch of 5 cars now, actually, because Mikey Taylor and Mike Lamara are pretty much on there. And they'll be there in the blink of an eye if these two start going off the ideal racing line.
They will, and the number 99 car, it's the car that won here last season with Victor Gonzalez Racing Team, Victor Gonzalez and Carl Whitmer, and they're right in the thick of it now with, what, just under 15 minutes remaining. There's nothing to choose at the front of the field. There's a big long train of cars heading into turn 1 now. This race is not over.
Not at all. Foley, Lawrence, Shimchak, Skier, Liddell up to 5th now. He's got past Stephen McAleer. That RS1 Porsche seems to be fading just a little bit. And the top 3 all in the 2:10s. So that means Cameron Lawrence has reset the fastest lap for that car with a 2:10.8. Playing for keeps at the front of the field in both classes at the moment. Robert Wickens ekes out half a second lead. Through they go with Carl Whitmer in 3rd position for Victor Gonzalez, then Van der Steur, then Mark Wilkins, Mike Lamara, Michael Lewis. So what happened that time around to Mikey Taylor in the 17 car? He's dropped a position to Michael Lewis for Brian Hurd at Autosport. 13.5 minutes to go. The leaders in TCR in front of the hotel. What a lovely place to be this afternoon. Maybe just sitting by the pool. A drink with an umbrella. Oh, if I must. A drink with an umbrella in it, even better. Side by side for the TCR lead down at turn 10. The Alpha just, dare I say this, but I just think the Alpha's got a little more tyre under it at the moment, Jeremy. It does seem as though Tim Lewis can pick his line just a wee bit more and move that car around even in the braking areas. He's not quite getting the punch off the corners. Yellow flags going into the Jean de Bian curves. The car off a driver's left there. And I'm not sure.
It was a stationary yellow, was it?
It was waved yellow.
Was it? Okay.
Waved yellow. I wouldn't have seen it if it had been stationary. My eyes aren't that good, Jeremy, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not full course caution. That
no, correct. Waved yellow.
Yeah.
Waved yellow. It is the number
Okay.
26, is it, that's gone off there? Or at least has stopped there. And it was at turn 14. Now, I'm not
25,
sure.
was it? Is it Bill Oberlin's car?
Is it Oberlin's?
It's been there for a while.
It is indeed the 25. Race control. It is the 25 Bill Oberlin's car, so that car did come back out. That's not in a great place. However, now dare I suggest this, that car was damaged earlier on. It's gone out. And we've got another Honda. This is the 99, Victor Gonzalez, going slow. But the BMW, if the yellow came out now, and we've got another car going slow. That's the 17 Audi going slowly. The Victor Gonzalez car trying to get out of the way, not to cause a full course yellow. That's Carl Whitmer. That is very, very gentlemanly driving. Please, let's hope that BMW didn't go out when it was went out when it wasn't fixed properly. There are two BMWs at the front of the field at the moment, being pressured by Christian Simchak, and Robin Liddell now up into 4th position and charging. 2.5 seconds away from the lead. He's put that car's fastest lap in last time around. He was the quickest of the top 10 cars last time by at least 0.3 of a second. And the battle for the TCR lead rages on as well, as Tim Lewis and Robert Wickens go at it, and Lewis gets down the inside into 13. Full course yellow's come out. Full course yellow is out. Who was ahead? I don't know. I think Lewis might have just nicked that. Oh my goodness, this is going to have to go back to a video, because we might not get back to green. Oh my goodness. Now we've got a moment of the race. Now we've got the Michelin moment of the race. Now this is for Bill Oberlin's car and for the VGRT, Victor Gonzalez Racing Team at turn 1. Not sure you could have left Victor's car there either. But this is...
So why was Oberlin's car there? Because...
Yeah, because
I thought that'd been out a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I did say it had a drive-through assessed, so it's not. It's the 26. It's not Oberlin's car. It's the 26, not the 25.
Okay, fine.
Excuse me, but it is another BMW. And one BMW having bad news, two BMWs having good news. Sorry, Bill, not your car. That car has, the Autotechnic car has not come back out again. So it was Toby
Grahovic, yeah. Here's a replay of the two TCR leaders battling it out and see where the caution comes out. Can we see?
Keep an eye on all of the...
It's just
where is he ahead? Is he ahead?
Just about.
Now, oh, how tight is that going to be? Yeah. It's a dead heat. It's a dead heat for TCR. That's they're going to have to drive round together behind the safety car. How do you decide that? And when did it come out? There are more timing loops than we get timing areas on the track. And IMSA may have to look at that if we don't go back green. There'll be no pass around here. So Toby Grahovic was the number 26 car that went, that stopped earlier. And I think that's probably why the full course yellow came out in the first place. I think the Victor Gonzalez one was being seen to. It's now being pulled back into the pits on the return road. That possibly could have been done under a local yellow, but turn 1's so fast you wouldn't want to put people over the wall. But he was sort of behind, partially behind the cutout there. So I'd say it was more for the Grahovic BMW, the 26. 7.5 minutes to go. So as it stands at the moment then, Tim Lewis is in the lead. Let's see what happens from race control. We haven't seen anything that they should swap places. And they'll be looking at that as closely as we have.
Yeah. And since we are within the final 15 minutes of the race, this will be a short yellow, so just get this car out of the way, and hopefully there'll be time for maybe one lap, possibly two, but likely just one lap shootout to the end. Ooh, that could be messy, as if it hasn't been messy already. Yeah, if that car isn't moved within the next 2 or 3 minutes, we're probably going to finish under caution, John.
Yeah, and then so one BMW's bad luck could be great news for the two Turner cars. There is no link between those teams, by the way, before anybody says anything. Robin Liddell will be seething, absolutely seething, up to 4th position and within sight of the leaders in a car that was working very, very well indeed. He might have a shot at a podium finish if we go back to green. But that BMW is steadfastly not wanting to move, I'm afraid. That's the fast track racing car. They just dropped off the lead lap. So whatever befell that car must have happened to it quite quickly.
Well, no, yeah, it was on the previous lap. He was running kind of towards the tail. He was running in the 20th position before he stopped on that last lap.
Yeah. So it's not as if he'd just come out the pits having had something done. My apologies.
I don't think so.
Misidentified that car. Oh my goodness. Bright sunshine, great weather. 24 degrees in the air, which is 75 Celsius, 22 on the track, 72 Fahrenheit, excuse me. And Tim Lewis, did he get the pass done in time? Well, Robert Wickens will be on the radio, you know he will. He passed me under yellow, he passed me under yellow. And Tim Lewis will go, I got him before the yellow. Remember, it is a fact of racing that however many drivers are involved in an incident, there will be that many different opinions, plus one.
Yeah, yes. Plus one, yeah, there you go.
It is number of drivers involved in the incident plus one is the number of opinions that there will be on the incident. That is a steadfast rule of motor racing. So the Michelin Pilot Challenge, the Alan J Automotive Network 120, 4 minutes to go. I'm going to have to ask you all for your Michelin moments of the race. Let's start with Shea Adam in the pit lane for GS.
The pass by Kenny Murillo.
At the start of the race?
At the start of the race.
Right.
That was decisive, it was clean, it was beautiful.
It was strong, certainly was. Joe Bradley, your GS moment of the race?
Yeah, for me, it's got to be Eric Figueres. What was it? 22nd
yes.
to second in the number 28 Porsche.
A series of moments for him, I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure he's got a few stories to tell in that one, hasn't he?
Yeah,
but that for me, I mean, phenomenal.
On board will be very good indeed. I'll ask Jeremy in just a moment. The pass for the lead being looked at by race control from every angle that they can possibly see.
That's going through 10, I think.
Coming, that's, yeah. From the onboard on the Hyundai.
No, the yellow's
out. Now that camera's not at the front of the car though, so you get a slightly different perspective there from what we saw from outside. I tell you, it's just a dead heat.
It was mighty close.
It was
no
mighty close. We've seen in the Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Championship people being told, pass now, yellow's coming out. 2.5 minutes to go. This is going to finish under yellow. Shea Adam, your TCR moment of the race.
That pass for now. Well, you know what? No, either way, because that has been the moment of the race.
Well, yeah, all right. Joe Bradley?
Yeah, this, what we're talking about now, it's got to be, hasn't it?
Okay.
You know, we go to yellow and the cars are side by side. I mean, you know, they may have to finish side by side.
Who do we give the set of tyres to, though? That's the question.
So one team gets the front set.
One tyre for each.
Rears.
Well, no, in TCRs, fronts are more valuable, aren't they, than rear? So give them one front and one rear each. What do you think?
Safety car is in. We're going back. There may yet be Michelin moments of the race. We're going back. We'll get one more lap. Green flag is out. Now watch for the Camaro. Gets a reasonable start. Looking up the inside of Christian Simchak. Now switches to the outside. The two BMWs trying to work together. The Camaro sweeping round the outside to third position. If Robert Liddell can hold on to it, he's ushered off to the side of the track, but keeps all four Michelins on and goes through. Brilliant from the Scotsman. Closes the door on Simchak. Lovely manoeuvre by Robert Liddell. Made sure there was absolutely no chance and no opportunity, and got through and held third place. Now what can he do? It is the last lap. Race control calling this is the last lap. Watch out as well for Lone Star Racing. No, it's Nola Sports' Elliott Skier, who's made up a position on the restart as well. He's trying to come through, and it's side by side as well with Scott Andrews, who's right there. I thought it was the Lone Star Racing car. So on to the podium for Rebel Rock Racing. Here they come. Half a lap to go. The two-turner BMWs doing their thing at the front, and all kinds of carnage going on behind. Murillo Racing into fourth position. That's Christian Simchak trying to hold off the hordes behind him.
Scott Andrews looking to find a way past, and Simchak closing the door there at Tower Turn.
And Robert Liddell is tracking Cameron Lawrence. He's not quite close enough. He'll give it a run down the inside at 17, Robin. You know he will. Simchak driving very defensively. Could be fourth, could be eighth at the moment. And he's struggling for grip in that Murillo Racing, the blue and bright orange AMG. Lone Star Racing in the metallic blue car behind him. Don't count out that little Porsche at the back of that either for Nola Sport. And RS1 just a little bit further back as well. Oh my goodness, Liddell's not close enough. The lead has gone wide into turn 17, and that'll close things up, but I don't think he's made a big enough mistake that it's going to stop it being a 1-2, is it? Here's Liddell, makes the run up the wall side, but Robbie Foley wins it, and it is a tournament BMW 1-2, with Robin Liddell fighting through to third. Another great drive by all of those drivers. Shea Adam down in the pit lane. Simchak off in the final corner. I said he could be fourth, he could be down the field, and he's well down the field.
Championship lead gone.
Championship lead disappears there. Tim Lewis wins for Alpha and for KMW from Robert Wickens, Mark Wilkins, the two Brian Herter cars. Let's go to Shea Adam first of all.
This is a Turner Motorsport 1-2, and it's big for the man who's getting his first ever win in this championship. Finn Barletta, race winner, Michelin Pilot Challenge. How does this feel?
It feels awesome. New car, a lot going on with the Turner team, but it's Turner, and we're always going to compete. And with Robbie and Cameron, I mean, the drivers took it to the front, huh?
How much did you learn last weekend in racing here that helped you get a stable platform for this one?
It absolutely helps. Running the older car, it is different. So what I was talking to Will about is committing to the new car for the rest of the VP season.
That is a great move. Well, congratulations. This puts you back in the championship hunt, and the zebra livery is a winner.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Joe Bradley.
Well, Roy, it was very late in the day when you could actually believe you guys were going to win that right to the very end.
You know, I'll take it however it comes. They laid me out for 70 minutes or something. You know, no consideration for my age whatsoever.
Well, you did a great job, but Tim Lewis right there. When it went to the yellow, there was deliberation as to just who was in the lead. The Alpha was in the lead, it was deemed.
Look, we felt we were, but we let the officials make the call. They're the ultimate law on the track, and we're just going to follow whatever they decide.
This Alfa Romeo just keeps on winning, doesn't it?
We would like to keep repeating. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So that's our two leaders. The Michelin moment of the race then. In TCR, it has to be that right on the yellow pass for the number 33 Alpha that ultimately was so close, side by side with Robert Wickens as it came out in GS. Jeremy, I haven't asked you yet. I'm going to say Robin Liddell for that last few laps drive. What do you have? You could have the casting vote here.
I'm torn between Shimjak for his move at the earlier restart where he took the lead from the Turner Motorsport BMW, or number 96 car that made 3 pit stops. More than anybody else, and won this race. So that's a great strategic call once again by Don Salama at Turner Motorsport.
Let's speak to Don Salama right now. Shea Adam.
Don, congratulations. 1-2 for Turner Motorsport, and now your attention gets to shift back to GTD, but how long do you get to celebrate?
We got like 40 minutes, and then we're back on track here. But boy, was that unexpected this weekend. We had 1-2s in the past, but boy, we didn't come into this weekend thinking we had a 1-2 in the box. And those cars, the guys did perfectly today. Strategy worked perfectly today. There were no faults, and it's been a little while, so it's nice to be back here. What?
And first one in the championship for the new car as well.
It feels fantastic. These cars, we're so much happier with the G cars than the F cars, and we're starting to figure them out now. And if they stay reliable, we're going to have a great season.
Championship run starts now. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Shea, are you staying with your GS moment of the race?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. Joe Bradley?
Yeah, my GS moment of the race?
Yes.
It's Eric Figueres for me, the second, 22nd to second.
Okay, thank you.
Got him in front of me if you want to talk to him.
Let's have a word.
Paul's going to have to forgive me, Paul Ryan just interviewing, but this is live. Eric, you are my moment of the race, 22nd to second. You've probably got a lifetime of tales to tell in that one.
Yeah, it was incredible. Not the qualifying session that we wanted. Obviously, red flags and a 15-minute session put us where the points positions were. Coming off of a bad Daytona put us in a bad position. So, the team put complete faith in me, and with Steven being my teammate, we gel really well. Thanks so much to RS1 Community Beer Works Porsche Naples for working so hard. It's not the result we wanted. We had some contact when Steven got in the car and it knocked the toe out, unfortunately. But, we're here, we're in the points. 8 more races to go, and we're looking forward to it.
How aware were you of the progress you were making through the field and the amount of places you were making up?
Well, luckily, there were so many cautions, I was able to see how many cars were in front of me. So I was able to sort of count, and, again, each time it wasn't anything where I got too excited. It was just taking my time, making sure that they were calculated moves, made when they needed to be made, and, hats off to this RS1 team.
Yeah, brilliant. Hats off to you, mate. Well done.
No consensus at all from us about the GS move of the race. I'm going to give it to RS1 for that then, because of those massive moves made. Stephen McAleer was defending hard at the end, but with a car that wasn't quite as it should have been. So they will get the Michelin moment of the race. Several moments of the race for Eric Figueres, coming up from 22nd to second after the non-qualifying session that they had. But quite honestly, it could have been any of the top 3 as well. Congratulations to Robert Liddell and Rebel Rock Racing, and great strategy from Turner Motorsport. They split their strategy, and that number 96 car 3 times down the pit lane. The moment of the race from Michelin. Each of those teams we've mentioned, the Alpha team and the RS1 team, will get a brand new set of Michelin slick tyres, courtesy of Michelin Motorsport. Well, down at the victory circle, and Tim Lewis, as you might imagine, is absolutely ecstatic about what has gone on there. He's having a look around the back of the car. He's got the family here to support him as well this weekend. What a lovely chap, been around for a few years now. Loves his motor racing, and he's not slowing down one iota, Jeremy Shaw.
No, it's cool, isn't it? From Boca Raton, Florida. This will be his 6th win in TCR, and a really hard-earned one. He found the skin of his teeth there. He was just perhaps ahead of Robbie Wickens there, but that was a tremendous race in TCR all the way through. Brilliant drive, though, today by Robbie Foley. He gets a new lap record for good measure, and a tremendous performance. And unofficially looking at the points table, Despite finishing way down the order in the opening round at Daytona, with this win, I reckon the number 96 team will lead in the points on 480 to the 470 of Murillo Racing's car number 56. That's Eric Foss and Jeff Mosing. Just 20 points behind them, tied for third, with JTI Motorsports Engineering. That's Anthony McIntosh and Jared Thomas, and the team TGM, car number 46, the Plum brothers, both on 450. So super tight in GS.
Shea Adam is working the crowd at the Victory Circle and has spotted a hot, sweaty but smiling, I think, Scotsman.
Oh yeah, there's a little bit of a smile hidden on his face, a grimace, he said. Robin, one more lap?
Yeah, I think I could have got second, to be honest, at least. I think we needed just too much yellow today. It's really intense racing. I really enjoyed the battling. It was a lot of fun out there. I mean, hard racing, but fun. A little bit of bumping and boring, but to be honest, everything I encountered was pretty clean. So, but unfortunately, just a few too many yellows, I think, really. And I think if we'd run a green race for a bit longer, I think we had a decent shot. I think I could have certainly gone one better. So, you know, we had a good car. The team's done a super job over the last few weeks. You know, we tested VP race weekend last weekend, and then this, and it's like I'm going to be glad this weekend's over, to be honest, because it's just been a lot of work. But the guys have done a super job. Frank really stepped his game up, particularly last weekend, and ran some super times and did a good job. So I think we're in a reasonably strong position for the rest of the year, and we just need to, try and get every bit of success we can, really. It's the final year for the Camaro. We've worked with these guys at GM and Chevy and Pratt & Miller for a long time. We've had a lot of good years with them, and we'd like to go out on a bit of a high and at least be able to stand on the top step, at least once more before we get to the end of this year. So, yeah, happy days.
Enjoy another podium finish.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Yeah, very good, Robin. And could have been a bit better from them, remember, if it hadn't been for that drive-through. Frank had done a great job, just defended a little bit too hard, didn't he, with the Stephen Cameron BMW, then had to have a drive-through, dropped out of a solid sort of top 10, top 11, all the way down into the 20s in class when Robin took that car over. Now, in fairness, the field got pulled back together with a couple of yellows. But I think that without that last one, as Robin said, there was another position maybe. Well, at least, if nothing else, we would have had some entertainment in the last 4 or 5 laps. Let's wrap it up then from the Alan J Automotive Networks 120 for the second round of the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge and recap the results. Unofficially then, Turner Motorsport with a 1-2, 96 from 95. Separated by half a second at the line, and the fastest lap of the race to Robbie Foley and the 96 car. Robin Liddell coming home in third with his teammate Frank Lepiot. Frank starting the race in the 71 Rebel Rock Racing Chevrolet Camaro was just 2 tenths away from the second of the BMWs at the line. A absolute street fight in the street car based class, the TCRs. Tim Lewis taking the checkered flag with a perfectly timed overtake before the yellows for KMW Motorsports with TMR, the Alpha, ahead of the 33 Brian Herder Autosports. They have 2 cars on the podium, the number 98 Hyundai as well, just off the podium for Mike Lamara, and the top 6 made up by Brian Herder Autosports number 1. That was a good fight back from that car. They were not quick earlier on in the week, and then it was Van der Steur and Rockwell, their remaining car. Points in TCR?
Yeah, and for Mike Lamaro, just off the podium this time, but he was on the podium last time at Daytona. As a result of that, I reckon they lead the points jointly with the number 98 team. That is Mark Wilkins and Mason Philippi in car number 98. So I reckon they both have 600 points apiece to the 570 of the number 33 car. That's Robbie Wickens and Harry Gottsacker that finished second today.
And a reminder of our Michelin moments of the race. In TCR, the side-by-side moment just before the yellow came out that went in the favour of the Tim Lewis, number 5, KWM Motorsports with TMR Alfa Romeo Giulietta. They'll take a brand new set of tyres. And in GS for from starting 22nd to fighting up to second place, Eric Figueras and the RS1 team, the number 28 Porsche. Jeremy Shaw was in the booth alongside me, John Hindhaugh. Thanks very much indeed to our pit reporters in the heat, Shea Adam and Joe Bradley, and to Alyssa and the rest of the team up in Charlotte, as well, of course, as our brilliant trackside camera operators and everyone involved with the production of the TV. Tim Gray was the magic man back in London that got us to the world on audio. Thanks for being with us. The rest of the season of the Michelin Pilot Challenge is live in sound and vision on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. I'm John Hindhaugh. Bye-bye.